I worked as an industrial firefighter up in the Alberta oil sands. And the schedule? It was absolutely brutal. 15-hour night shifts for 18 days straight. I watched that schedule just break so many good people. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to treat myself like an industrial athlete and build a system. This isn't about just surviving. This is my exact hour-by-hour protocol for how I actually thrived out there. My name is Kevin, and I've worked as a firefighter, soldier, arborist, mechanic, and many other irregular blue-collar and shift work jobs. And I've been able to thrive regardless of how work affected my health, just by dialing in my fitness and nutrition. Let's break it down. You see, for most people on this job, the outcome is pretty predictable. Their health just goes into a nosedive. We're talking weight gain, living on nicotine, and Monster energy drinks, and just complete burnout by day 10. I refuse to let that be my story. My mission was totally different. I wanted to end those 18 days sharper and even stronger than when I started. 15 hours. Every single night. You have to understand, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And you gotta run that marathon again and again and again. And it's not just the 15 hours, right? It's the relentless grind of doing it for nearly 3 weeks without a single break. Your body, your mind, they're pushed to the absolute edge. If you don't have a disciplined plan, you really don't stand a chance. My success on that shift, it didn't start at 5 p.m. when I punched the clock. Nope. It started hours before, with a pre-shift routine that was totally locked in. It set the tone for the entire night. Honestly, this is where the battle was won. I broke my afternoon down into 3 parts, and these were completely non-negotiable. First, the wake up to just establish discipline. Then, the prime to get my body activated. And finally, the fuel to make sure I had stable, long-lasting energy. Okay, so 3 p.m. The alarm goes off. There is no snooze button. I'm up and immediately in a cold shower. It's a jolt to the system that wakes you up like nothing else. Then I weigh in. Then I make the bed. Just small little wins, right? They build momentum before I even leave my room. And this part is absolutely crucial. I get outside to catch those last few precious hours of Alberta sunlight. This helps set my body clock, my circadian rhythm, and it stops me from feeling like a total zombie later. Next up is straight to the gym for 1 hour. Now the goal here isn't to become a bodybuilder or anything. It's all about waking up my nervous system with heavy compound lifts like squats and bench presses. It oxygenates the whole body, and let me tell you, this part is critical. If I skip this, my back will be absolutely screaming after sitting in a truck for 15 hours. And this brings me to a concept I call the industrial athlete. See, most guys out here think I work hard so I don't need to train. That is a trap. Manual labor breaks your body down in specific repetitive patterns. It wears out your joints and tightens your hips. Training does the opposite. It builds you back up, it corrects the imbalances caused by the job. So when I'm in the gym at 3:30 p.m., I'm not just lifting weights, I am putting armor on my body. I am bulletproofing my spine against the long night ahead. That shift in mindset from laborer to athlete is the difference between being broken by the job and dominating it. For fuel, I'd cook with my Instant Pot on saute mode in the hotel right after the gym. We're talking high fat, high protein stuff like steak, eggs, chicken, cheese, and avocado, and I was super strict about avoiding carbs. So why? Well, think about it. Your body just doesn't process glycogen, carbs very well at night. Eating them leads to that awful insulin crash and that brain fog we all know. My carnivore style meals, they gave me stable, crash-free energy for the entire 15-hour shift. Alright, so my body's primed, I'm fueled up, it's time to head to the site. But the protocol doesn't stop there. How I managed my time and my energy during the shift was just as important as the prep. The shift itself had its own little rhythm. It all kicked off with deployment at 5 p.m. Then there was a really critical reset at 7 p.m. to set the tone for the long night ahead. And finally, a strategic fuel stop right in the graveyard hour to push through to sunrise. You have to understand, my job was like 90% just waiting on emergency standby. And this is the biggest trap of all, boredom. Most of the guys would just rot their grains, scrolling on their phones, just draining their dopamine and making themselves even more tired. I saw that downtime as a massive opportunity. So instead of doom scrolling, I use that time to study for certifications and learn about personal finance and health, or just walk laps around the site. I kept my brain and my body engaged. And that single choice, man, that was the key to preventing that awful 3 a.m. crash. You know, the one where your body just wants to give up? It kept me sharp, it kept me alert. At 7 p.m., I'd do a few rounds of Wim Hof breathing. It's this powerful technique of deep breaths and holds, and then I'd follow it with a short meditation. This was my secret weapon. Seriously, it would completely reset my stress levels before the night got really deep. After that, around 7:30 p.m., that's when I would eat my main meal. Okay, fast forward to 1 a.m., the real graveyard hour. This is where the protocol gets really specific. I'd have a small carnivore snack, and I would take 4,000 IUs of vitamin D. Think about it. I'm working in total darkness. I'm basically a vampire for 18 days straight. I had to supplement the sun that my body was missing out on. It's a simple hack, but it makes a huge difference. The shift ends, but the mission is far from over. How you come down from a 15-hour night shift might just be the most important part of the entire protocol. This is where you set yourself up for real recovery and for success the next day. So that drive home at 7 a.m. is a total danger zone for your sleep. The sun's coming up and it's blasting you with blue light, which tells your brain, hey, it's time to be awake, which is the exact opposite of what you want. So I use what I call the vampire hack. I would wear dark blue light blocking sunglasses to protect my body's melatonin production. It's the only way I could be sure I'd actually be able to fall asleep when I got back. Once I was back in my room, the final phase would begin, creating the perfect sleep cave. First up, a warm shower, which, fun fact, actually helps lower your core body temperature, signaling sleep. Then I take some ashwagandha. It's an adaptogen herb to bring down my stress hormone cortisol. And finally, total darkness. Blackout curtains drawn tight and a high quality sleep mask on. This little routine, it guaranteed me 7+ hours of deep uninterrupted sleep every single day. So after 18 days, 270 hours of work, what was the actual outcome of this whole mission? Let's do the debrief. I mean, just look at the difference here. The contrast is stark. The typical path leads straight to burnout, declining health, and packing on fat. My result? I finished those 18 days with 0 burnout. I actually maintained my physique, and I can honestly say I felt mentally sharper than when I first started the contract. And this is the most crucial takeaway. There was no magic pill here, no secret trick. This was simply the result of a deliberate, repeatable system. It was a protocol, and it was executed with discipline every single day. Look, jobs like this are always going to be hard. That is a given. That's part of the deal. But how you show up and the condition of your health, that's a choice. That is a choice you make every single day. So the question I'll leave you with is this. What's your protocol?